Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker, and you are listening to How I Met the Mat, Episode 2, the segment of the podcast where I talk to people from all walks of life who somehow or another found themselves in the combat sports world. And today I'm talking to a longtime, I would say, social media friend. We've never met in real life, but we go back quite a ways. This man, let me get my list of credentials here.
Oh, Lord. Hold on.
Is a social media influencer and content creator, a musician, the front man of Aeoxis. I would say a comedian,
Yeah,
not the stand-up variety, but the internet variety.
I'll give you that.
He's a bit of a bartender. He
Learn
is
it
a
from you.
martial artist, Muay Thai practitioner. He's got a fight coming up, which we're going to get into a little bit later. And I would say also a philosopher, a modern day philosopher. And this man is Tovaun Anthony. Tovaun, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing pretty darn good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. We chatted a little bit before this. Life's been busy, life's been hectic. I just got back to training full time myself this week. So
Mhm.
the body's feeling it, but I missed the soreness.
Yeah. It's like football, man. Like, you're off the field for a while, you come back, you get hit, and you're like, I used to do this every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to the point where I would be sparring, and when you get tagged pretty good and you think like, "Oh, I got to get that one back."
Man.
I wasn't thinking that anymore.
uh,
I was thinking, "When's this round over?"
yeah. You're like, I got to go to work tomorrow or something. Just,
Yeah.
you start thinking of everything else.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and even, like, with jujitsu, I'd be rolling with people and just not even thinking about what I was doing. I'd be thinking about my grocery list or, something else I gotta do.
You
And I'm like,
know,
this isn't productive, and it's not fair to the people I'm training with."
that's exactly how it is some days. I had to get myself out of that with like the newer guys on the fight team over at Travel Train Teach. Like we got some young guys now who like they're 20, 21, like, and they're just like, yeah. And I'm like, huh, I gotta fix my roof.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely relate to that because the guys on our fight team are all in that same age bracket, and, I try to I'm mostly training them, like
Mhm.
holding pads and making corrections, but I also try to train with them.
Yeah.
But then I remember, they have that puppy energy and I have that old dog energy.
Yeah, they can be like Naruto and go to sleep and wake up with healed injuries. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
so it's like, dude, I'm dealing with a finger issue right now where it's like up up till about like a week ago, I couldn't do this without it hurting so
Mhm.
bad. And I'm like, how did this even occur? Did this
Yeah.
happen during training? Did it happen during my side job? I don't know. All I know is it hurts.
Yeah. I've found that most of my major injuries have happened outside of the gym, just doing regular stuff.
Yep. that's that's a part of being on this planet for over 25 years. Like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Everything starts to get you except the things that you expect to get you.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude.
Yeah. Like, I spend most of my free time doing, like, pretty dangerous stuff, but then I'll throw my back out, like, putting a cooler in the trunk of the car.
Dude, I remember years ago, I think DC was about to fight Stipe, and there was a rumor going around that he sneezed his back out. DC sneezed his back out. And I was like, how in the world do you sneeze your back out? Like, how like I forgot what I said. I was like, how whatever do you have to be in order to sneeze your back out? That is crazy. The next day I was at work and I was talking to my boy Tay, he's my drummer now, and I was like, yeah, I don't know how someone can sneeze their back out. And then all of a sudden I just went, shit. And I locked up. And he was looking at me like, you good? I was like, I don't think I am. He's like, what do you mean you don't think you are? You just sneezed. I was like, I did. And then I had to sneeze again. And I was trying to stop myself because the initial shock made me fear the idea of ever sneezing again. And I'm like, is this karma? What
Yeah.
is going on? Oh, I'm old.
Yeah. That's a Godsmack right there, is what that is.
Quite literally. Oh man, I was like, how in the world could I make fun of an apex athlete? And now I'm over here just hurting in a cubicle.
Yeah. Dude, DC is my spirit animal, I think.
Dude, he's like the most uncle UFC fighter you could ever have ever.
Yeah.
His commentary is gold. I love him.
Oh, yeah, he's great. He definitely brings some character to the broadcast, some much needed character.
1000%. Yeah. Mhm.
So when I first learned about you, it was back when MMA Twitter was a thing,
Man.
and it was a pretty small community, I'd say. Like,
Mhm.
it was there wasn't a lot of us at the time, and I saw one of your prediction raps, and I was like, "Not only is this guy talented, but he knows the fighters, he knows fighting inside and out, and he's able to take all that information and put it into a rap song pretty much on demand because you would do them like the week of the fights, right?
Yeah, I would do it every single week, way back when. Mhm.
So I was like, I gotta latch onto this guy before he gets really popular.
A
And
lot
then,
of times I would do it like, what was it? 2 days before because I just really wanted to make sure I wasn't omitting anybody or someone got injured, something like that. It's like, "Oh, crap."
yeah,
Mhm.
you don't want to put a whole rap together and then the guy sneezes his back out.
Yeah, man, no, it was something else. Because I remember and I would take that stuff so seriously. Like certain comments or whatever. This is before I just kind of got used to like I've been on the internet for a long time, especially playing video games and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
certain things people would say to me, like on games, I didn't give a crap. But when certain comments would come up, I'm like, oh man, I did mess up there. Oh, why? So
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. Like people on the internet are just they're just out for blood, man. They want to get a reaction out of you.
it's the Wild West, dude. It's the Wild West. And it's like
Yeah,
sometimes you just gotta remember that. Like, hey, listen, it's like 80% rage bait, 20% everything else. So
yeah. There's a lot of good folks out there too, but
mhm.
every now and then I'm like, say it to my face one time.
Not one. Not one. I had someone online in my comments once literally say he was gonna show up to a show of mine. And I was like, first of all, that's not a good idea. Not because of me, but because of the people that love me. Please no, we could shake hands. I'll get you a drink. Calm down.
Mhm.
We were disagreeing over like some I think I made a comment about dating or whatever, and this dude was just extra. And I'm like, dude, we don't even
Hit
have
him
to
in the
be here.
feelings.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't even have to be here, man. I'm like, do you want a drink? But also, I'm a jokester. I'm a jokester.
Mhm.
I'm like, do you want a drink? Do you need a hug? Do
Yeah.
you need to talk? I can be your friend. Do you like me? Like,
Yeah.
so I'm a troll, but yeah, I'm like, no, why are we doing this? None of you will say this to my face ever.
Yeah, and even if they did, I would be the same way. I'm way more likely to talk my way out of a fight than to ever
Then I
like, I'm
actually throw.
yeah, I'm
No, no, no,
no,
no.
because
The last. Hmm?
I know the consequences, and plus I live in Florida, everybody's got guns.
Yeah, no, yeah. That is one of the main reasons why because, I went to college and, I went to Full Sail, so I was in Winter Park. I learned real quick, and I remember coming home to DC, and actually recently I had to say something about that, online to a guy because, I forgot what rapper was talking about it, but he's from New York, and he said, for some odd reason, New Yorkers think they're the hardest people in the room, no matter where they go. So he was like, a friend of his was in New York, was in Florida one time, and things went completely different than they thought it was going to go. And I commented saying, "Yeah, I lived in Florida for 2 years. I learned within the first 3 months that Florida man is just not the cat that I want to mess with." And someone from DC was just like, first of all, we do the teaching. What are you talking about? I'm like, this is how I know you never left the city. Please
Yeah.
calm down. Stay over there. Just I'm like, what you think is a nice little piece of metal, they got other stuff down there that you just don't even. You're like, how did you get your hands on this?
Yeah, yeah.
So
When someone's grandma pulls out a rocket launcher on you and you're like, "Oh,
you know what?
oh, Florida's different."
Like, I'm good. Like, y'all got
Yeah.
y'all got
They
people
got
with pets down there that don't even make any sense. So it's like anywhere where you can openly own a tiger or an alligator, just you got it, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm,
exactly.
mhm,
So, over the years, I mean, you did the prediction raps for a long time, but you evolved into more of, I would say, a comedy
mhm,
influencer because you just have a lot of funny ideas and they're not just funny, they come with, like, a sense of sincerity and an
mhm.
honesty that makes it relatable and really draws people in, and obviously, you've gotten really popular doing this sort of stuff, so how did that kind of evolution happen where, like, when you first came on the scene, it was all the MMA stuff, and then you kinda mix in the comedy, but it kind of evolved into, like, full-blown, like, I'm a comic, musician, like, this is what I find funny, this is what I'm putting out there. How did that evolution happen?
So, I had been doing stuff like what I do now for years, right? Like, I've talked to people about this where it's like, yeah, no, the only difference is I became more consistent
Mhm,
with the MMA raps. And I might have mentioned this the last time I was on your show. What I wanted to do with that is I had that idea, and at first I'm like, okay, I'm self-conscious, whatever. And I'm like, people are gonna call me cheesy, they're gonna call me stupid. But one of actually my head coach at Travel Chain Cheese now, he was one of the main guys telling me, like, why don't you just try it? Like, you have no idea who might actually like it, or they might think it's cool, or maybe they can have some input. You never know, right? But for with that, it was mainly because I wanted to be included in certain conversation. Like, you come online sometimes and you try to give your opinion. You're like, hey, what do you guys think about this? And people are just bum rushing you.
yeah,
And then I was like, well, I do want to kind of start like a MMA media kind of thing. And some friends of mine were talking about, okay, well, maybe we should do a podcast. I'm like, well, everyone's doing podcasts. How do we do it? Like, how do we make our own thing with it, right? Like, you have MMA on the rocks. First of all, I've said it a million times. That's why I tag you all the time. I'm like, this is my whiskey freaking guru right here. So it's like you have your own thing with it.
mhm.
And that's what I was looking at everyone else, where I'm like, okay, this guy's the funny guy. This guy makes crazy bets. Shout out Clint. Um, and I'm like, well, what do I do? And then I started thinking again, like, well, you were talking about doing that rapping thing. How can you mix this in? And then it became, okay, how about just rap about your favorite fighters, right?
Mhm.
And try to throw something in there that works. And then I did that. And then some people saw that and they're like, oh, this is cool. And then like 2 weeks later, I was like, what if I actually did do a prediction rap? How would that even work? And like the whole who you got thing kind of came up.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, just say that, and then I'll say something in between. Say that, and say that in between. And it was like, okay, well, this works, right? This works. And that became kind of the forefront of everything, because I started dedicating myself to that every week, which was like, not gonna lie, life was a lot more simple back then. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, I started dedicating myself to that every week, because not only was I finally being like included in like certain conversation, I could talk to people about things. People would actually go like, okay, whether they agreed with me or not, it was like, okay, well, that now the door's open, we could talk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is working out. But once again, that became the forefront, and I was just still doing some of the comedy things every once in a while. And then what ended up happening is, during the pandemic, I came around during the pandemic, but I ended up losing my job. I was working for the VA for the past 10 years, right? I was in IT.
Mhm.
And with that, I was starting to gain a little bit of steam online with some things. And I said, you know what, maybe the people around me are right, to include my coaches, to include my friends and family, who are like, dude, you could do anything you want to. You're just not confident. And we
Mhm.
don't know why. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Because it's like with me, I'm so used to throwing out art and just not caring what happens
Yeah.
afterwards, that it just never occurred to me like I could really pursue something like with this. So then I said, okay, well, I'm going to try to be more consistent, and we'll see what happens. And then more and more stuff started coming out. And then, like, even with the MMA raps, like, even to this day, some people thinks like I just stopped, let it go, and it's like that doesn't have my interest anymore. I'm like, actually, no, I still do this every week. It's just not
Mhm.
recorded.
Ah,
So whether it's amongst friends, whether it's amongst like, people that I run into, whether they're on the street, maybe they knew about the MMA raps, or maybe we're in a bar and we're
mhm.
talking, and then it's like, oh dang, that was a nice bar. I said that, or somebody like might
Yeah,
notice something I said, and like, did that rhyme? I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, it did.
yeah, who you
Oh
got?
crap. Exactly. So um yeah, man, that's how the transition kind of went, because once I started going viral, especially on TikTok and Instagram, because of certain comedy stuff. Um like I think mainly Instagram was like the dating comedy stuff, but then TikTok was like the nerd side of me. So it could still be fighting. It could be the anime stuff and the video
Mhm.
game stuff that I can go off of. So I'm like, wow, I can really just be myself out here.
Yeah,
Um, and it worked that way. And then even with the most recent prediction rap I did, it was actually a collab between me and an artist named Create Lady J, who she started training at my gym at Travel Train Teach recently too. But she's had interest in martial arts for most of her life.
mhm.
So I was like, hey, how about you and I try to do this thing together? And that was really fun. That was really fun because she's a much better rapper than me. I'll tell you that. So
Well, I mean, don't sell yourself short. I mean, those things, like, they from an outsider perspective, they seem pretty complex.
Mm.
But can you pinpoint, like, something that you did that kind of sparked, like, "Oh, I can, like, really lean into this and I can be myself." Was there one specific reel or TikTok that you put out that the responses kind of made you feel like, "I I can do this and succeed at it?"
Honestly, it wasn't until what was it? It was, I forgot what episode this was, but I have a series called the Fantasy Versus series. It's where I basically pose myself against, you know what it is. I pose myself against fictional characters and stuff like that, and I'm announcing it like Bruce Buffer, all
Yeah,
of that.
when you
And
didn't research your opponent.
yep, it
Mhm.
wasn't until maybe the which episode was it? I don't remember the number, but Ezio Auditore from Assassin's Creed. It
Okay.
wasn't until then where I was like, oh, I can, because at that point, that's when some people started to pick up that there was a story going on with that entire series and
Mhm.
things like that. I'm like, these are things that I've wished people got about me, and I never thought they would.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, these things are starting to come together. Okay, huh? But then more people started to get more involved with other aspects of my life. They're like, oh, you are a musician. So when these songs are being covered during the series, you're the one doing it. Or
Mhm.
like, if they see me playing guitar somewhere else, or even at certain conventions. The crazy thing about it is I've been at conventions where people have seen my comedy stuff, right?
Mhm.
And they think that I'm one of the stand-up comedians that's going to be performing there. And then they find out I'm a musical act, and they're like, huh? And I'm like, just wait, just wait and see. Just come to the show. If you don't like it, you leave in the first 5 seconds. And then they're like, we had no idea you did this too.
Mhm.
We like this. And I'll say this, especially throughout my early 20s, I went through a considerable amount of time where I would do a lot of things, but I wouldn't stick around for feedback. So I had no idea if anybody liked anything I did. I just did it.
Yeah.
So, and that probably catered to like the idea of the fact that I just did not know if things that I did would be nice, and why I thought things that I did were cheesy. Maybe nobody cared, maybe nobody liked certain things. And just getting back to artistry, it's just like, as long as you ain't hurting nobody, who cares what other people think? Just create, dude.
Yeah, but, there are a lot of people who are, like, maybe if they're not even into the same things that you're into, they're not into the anime, they're not into the video games,
Mhm,
they're drawn to, like, the honesty of what you're doing because
mhm.
even like, the satirical things you're doing, like I said, there's an honesty to it, and there's, like, a genuine, like, you could tell you've put thought into it. You're
Mhm,
not just reacting to something somebody said. Like, I don't wanna say you script it out, but you can tell, like, you actually thought about the way you're gonna put your words together
mhm,
and present it in a way that's funny and honest. And I think people are just drawn to that kind of energy.
Mhm. Yeah, no, like I try to be relatable. Like I remember when I was kind of focusing on like the comical aspects of dating, mental health, and then how like trauma can affect all this stuff and things like that. I remember people would come to me asking if I had experience like in this field with counseling. I'm like, I don't. I will tell you one thing I do is I have experience, and I have like I have my own experiences, and then I have experiences I have seen through other people growing up. And it was because it was explained to me what was going on that
Hmm.
I was able to process it a certain way rather than jump to my own conclusions as a kid or have it affect me a certain way later. Um, so it's like, yeah, that's really what it is when I come at these things, whether I'm being facetious or what, like, or just comical. It's it's still me giving myself to you guys.
Hmm.
So that's the best way I could put it. And I can't really do it any other way because at that point I'm like, yeah, now I'm not being genuine at all, or I'm not giving something to where either I'm telling somebody about a lesson I learned or something like that. I'm like, I gotta give you something. If I don't, I just feel like it's weightless. So outside of like if and it's no shade to anyone out here, whatever your form of entertainment or art is, do your thing. But at that point it's no difference between me and this person that does like a TikTok dance and then there's nothing else with it.
Yeah.
But that's for certain cats.
Yeah.
I will never shame it. It's just like, hey, that works for this crowd. If someone wants to, maybe I can touch somebody, whether that's through the funny things I've said, because I've had guys who are like super toxic come on my page. And because I was making fun of one thing, they were like, yeah, this guy's cool. But then when I have gone on another video and they feel like I'm saying something that they don't agree with, now they're mad. But then when they have a conversation with me,
Hmm.
they're like, okay, I get it. Like
Hmm.
it's rare an occasion where if it even gets to the point of a conversation where me and a person online just can't get it right at all.
Hmm.
And the only time that's the case is if it's like, okay, this is an unknown account with no followers and they're probably just a troll. It's like, all right, dude. But I can see
Yeah.
that from a mile away.
Hmm.
So I think it's because people can connect and they understand that I want to connect as well. Like I'm not here to wage war with anybody. I'm
Sure.
not. So
Yeah. Yeah. I get similar things where it's like I'll do comedy videos correcting martial arts techniques, and it's
those
satire.
are amazing, by the way, dude. Those are amazing. Especially the ones like when the ladies are in there and you're like, huh, did you see that? Like, oh my
I'm a big fan of misdirection.
God. It's freaking great.
I appreciate that.
Mhm,
But yeah, people will then like come after my martial arts credentials, and it's like I have nothing to prove to anybody. Like I am what I am. I've earned what I've earned,
mhm,
and I don't I don't preach about it. I'm not here to do that. Like this is just for fun.
mhm.
And people don't get that all the time. Like they think I'm taking myself seriously somehow.
No, it's been well, you know, some cats, when it comes to the internet, right? They try to either take everything at face value. There's outrage culture. There's everything on the in between, and those are the things that I'm like, I keep this in consideration. And if you have a person that just wants to be mad at you, it's like, all right, well, you can be mad over there. You're not really mad at me. You're mad at an idea.
Yeah.
Um, and it, everyone wants to come at everybody about everything, right?
Or they're mad at
Um,
themselves
yeah, exactly,
and they're
exactly.
taking it
Like,
out on you.
man, dude, I had a guy come into my DMs recently because he saw the fight poster that was up, and he was like, "Yeah, like I've seen your videos. You don't really know what you're doing. This, that, and the other. The guy's probably going to kick you." I'm like, "You don't even know who the other guy is.
Yeah.
I barely know who the other guy is. I'm going to do my best because I can do my best." And
Mhm.
like that's it. I'm training for it. XYZ, and he was just kind of getting extra with it. And he's like, well, if you've been training for this amount of time, and I was like, first of all, how do you know how long I've been training? But
Mhm.
I'm like, he's like, if you've been training this amount of time, you should have probably had this already, this already. Wait, how old are you again? And I'm like, dude, I'm doing this because I want to do it.
Yeah.
It has, like, I have, he does not know my story at all. I've been very clear with my coaches. I've been clear with everybody. Like, I don't have a thirst for combat competition. Like,
Right.
this is more of a benchmark, right?
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, all I really want to do is train, be able, and then also if I can help teach the next generation, that's what I want to do.
Mhm.
Um, but as far as getting out there, being a world champion, anything like that, it's like, dude, I don't even have these aspirations. So for anyone to come at me saying, "Oh yeah, but you wouldn't go pro right now, and you get washed, and this, that, and the other," it's like, dude, I don't care. Those they live, sleep, and breathe this. I
Yeah.
don't. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, it's about just testing yourself and seeing what you're capable of and putting yourself in a situation that's uncomfortable. Like competing in martial arts is uncomfortable, and especially, credit to you. You got such a big following on social media for putting out there that you're doing something like that. You could you're well within your rights to just keep that private and not tell anybody and just go do it, but you're sharing, that part of your experience with people, and then they wanna go and criticize it, but why? When they would probably, never have the courage to go and do that or, put themselves out there in the same way.
Yeah. No. And that's why with most people that take these steps, whether it's fighting, whether it's any type of sport, any type of competition, or something where they feel like they're, to me personally, I'm like, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I'm going to live my life once again, so long as I'm not hurting anybody. I think I'm fine. But there are some people, whether they have big followings, they're online, they might have this persona where um, certain things that they do, they feel like might compromise that persona, right?
Mhm.
I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
I never have. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, I'm just Tovaun. And these are the things that I do. If I want to share it with other people, I'll share it with other people. And, like, yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned it, other people have said it to me. They're like, yeah, you could have done this in silence. You really
Mhm.
could have. And it's like, yeah, well, whether there's some eyes on me, the way I look at it is either I'm going to win or I'm going to lose. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to train my best.
Mhm.
And if it's not my night, or this kid is just a better fighter, hey, I learned something. I
Sure.
learned something. So that's I'm looking at it as my experience. If you want to jump in on it, by all freaking means. But also at the end of the day, you ain't in there with me.
Mhm.
Once the bell goes ding ding, it's me and that guy. It ain't a cheer or a boo that's going to help me or hinder him. I don't no.
Yeah. And
So
you and I are kind of in this on the same page in that regard. Like I competed once upon a time in many different disciplines,
mm,
and what I learned was I didn't love it.
mm,
I competed, I did well, but I didn't have that burning desire to continue competing. And what I found out about myself eventually is that I was meant to be a coach instead of, a high level competitor. When I started, I was like, I'm going to be in the UFC.
mm,
And I believed it. And then I competed, and even though it went well, I was like, I don't know that I really love doing this. And it was it's like it's a tough pill to swallow when you think like this is your goal and you decided that's what you're going to do, and then you realize like maybe it shouldn't be my goal.
man, that was me right out of college. I went in with the idea like, okay, I'm going to be this graphic designer. I'm going to work in a firm. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And like I say, 3/4 of the way through school, I was sitting here like, oh, I'm an artist, but I'm a selfish artist. And I honestly don't like making things for other people. Like I will, like there are things I can have fun with, but I learned during school, like, yeah, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to be in an office every day doing this. I just really like to draw, I like to animate and stuff like that. If I could put my heart into it, I will. But as far as just at that time, like being told what to do every day, it just didn't really sit right with me. And I'm like, okay, there's another way to go about this.
Mhm.
And that's how I ended up in IT for like 10 years. Cause I'm like, oh, I could do that. Cause I'm constantly learning this skill of which I wanted to build computers and do other stuff anyway. So it's like, okay, well, that's kind of scratching that itch and to pay the bills.
Mhm.
But I still freelance as a graphic designer and web designer and stuff like that now. But it's not what I thought I was going to be doing when I decided, like, okay, I'm going to school for this. And then also, like, school made me realize, like, as far as, because I think I originally wanted to go for game art. That's what I wanted to do. And then I saw the
I'm sorry, I know what you said, but I heard gay
I know.
mart.
Game art.
I was
Game
like
art.
I was like, "Is this,
We have all the best prices and we're
is this
very friendly.
is this an off-brand of Kmart that I don't know about?" Like, because if they had that, it would be here in Florida.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like, there'd be gay marts next to every Publix.
Everywhere.
Well, maybe not next to Publix, they're
Oh,
kinda
don't
religious.
mention Publix. I miss those cookies. There's no Publix up here.
Man, Publix is a lifestyle in Florida.
Dude, I remember the last time I was in Atlanta, I was going to Dragon Con, and I was like, dude, I need a snack before I stop at this convention. Looked over, I'm like, it's a Publix.
Mhm.
Ran inside. I was so happy to be there. One of the employees was just kind of looking at me like strange, because I was just like,
Yeah,
I hadn't seen one since college. So yeah,
yeah.
no.
Oh, Publix is great, and all the
Mhm,
employees are happy.
for the most part.
They well, they have to be. If they're not, they have to scrub the bathrooms. Like, if they're ever being rude to a customer or anything, they get bathroom duty.
Is
I one
that
one day, my wife got back from Publix, and she's like, "I met the first rude Publix employee." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, What was he doing?" She was like, "Well, he just got done cleaning the bathroom." And I was like, "Well, see?
yeah, that'll put you in there.
Yeah, they keep things in line at Publix, like,
Oh my
you
god.
serve that fried chicken with a smile or
That's yours.
yeah,
Oh my
you
gosh.
can't sleep on Publix fried chicken either.
Oh no. Dude,
Man,
Publix was my place in college. Especially once once I got over trying to survive on ramen noodles and what's that? Little Caesars.
mhm,
Because you can do that at 17, 18.
yeah,
Oh man, I wandered into a Publix. I think me and my roommate at the time, we were just like, I think we should go grocery shopping. Okay, cool. We
mhm,
go into Publix. I'm like, yo, this place is great. But I had like 8 stacks of cookies. I
yeah,
was like, uh, what else we getting? They're like, dude, get some actual sustenance. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
mix a little protein in there.
uh, learn how
So,
to
I
keep a
wanna
steak.
get back to the martial arts stuff, but,
Yeah.
I wanna get more into you because um and I was going through some of your content before we got into this, and your musical style is very unique. I mean, you do it all. You do cover songs, like, with your own twist to it. You
Mm.
do a lot of the anime, um, numbers that I'm not even familiar with, but I find myself watching it like, I don't know what this is from. It's from a video game or a TV show or something, but this is fucking cool. And so, my question to you is, like, what do you consider to be your biggest musical influence?
Biggest musical influence? Oh man.
Like, if you had to narrow it down, like, what made you decide, like, I want to do that?
So there's a band called Flow. They are from Japan. They made a bunch of anime songs
Hmm.
up till now, to the point that now they can tour the world strictly doing their anime music, even though my favorite songs of theirs aren't the anime songs. And that's not me being some, I was there in the beginning. It's just, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So um, they were the ones that kind of made me go like, I can just do whatever I want to do musically. I can throw anything I want to in there.
Hmm.
All right, guess I'm doing it. Um,
So now, is this band like, has it been like the same group of people, or is it like hired guns that kind of are interchangeable?
you talking about Flow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Flow, they're the same guys that have been ever since they started. Same dudes. They're just getting older. That's all.
Mhm.
So, yeah, no, like I just remember one of the first times I heard one of their songs, I was like, "Huh, this is kind of odd," because it was like this weird, like Caribbean beat, sort of. But then they
Mhm.
started bringing in these strings and doing all this other stuff. I'm like, yo, these guys are different. But then they went from that to doing like some hip hop stuff, to doing like metal esque stuff, to techno. And I was like, yo, these guys are doing a lot. What?
Mhm.
And especially for me at the time, because I was really, really like I'm still very, very into anime, clearly. Um, but listening to groups back then, to me, I was hearing a lot of the same structure.
Mhm.
And with them, it was just different. Like they could go from, once again, metal stuff to jazz to Latin jazz. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I never even thought about that, especially putting like Japanese singing over top of it. I'm like, yo, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
But it just kept on piquing my interest, and that made me want to listen to more things. Like I was introduced to music. I was listening to a lot of Christian rock when I was a kid, but a lot of classical music as well, because I played
Mm.
violin growing up. My mother was like, "You're not going to play guitar, you're going to play the violin." And I'm like, okay, screw it. Guess I'm doing that. Can't
Yes,
play it for
no.
nothing right now. It's downstairs. If I pick that up, you'll be like, "You played when?" But
I'm sure it could come back to you.
maybe one of these days. I just gotta be consistent. But yeah, listening to a lot of classical music and that. And then my brothers were into hip hop. And I'm like, okay, so I had these influences, and then go-go music's big in DC, and that's like a mix of funk, jazz, and a lot of other stuff. They mix more into it nowadays. But so I had all of these influences. I just thought everything had their own place.
Mhm.
That's how I was. I was like, okay, you do this over here, you do that over there, you do that over there. But
Yeah.
then I started listening to more groups like Flow, another Japanese band called Uberworld. They do a lot of the same things. They tend to stick more on the harder end, but they'll mix up a lot of stuff too. And then hearing other bands, as you know, I've gotten older, just implement all these different styles. Like oh my goodness, what is their name? Oh no, don't lose it, Tovaun. Don't lose it. I mean, even down to like groups like prog metal groups like Periphery. Like when you think about the rhythms that they utilize, you're like, oh,
Mm.
I know who you listened to growing up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that even down to like Celtic guitar. Like I'm a big Tony McManus fan. I keep
Oh,
forgetting if
okay.
that's how you pronounce his name, but yeah, no, like I'm like, what is it? My pork pie hat, that song. Oh my gosh, I love it to death. I'm like, oh, his rendition is that is so great.
It's funny because a lot of, popular music fits into a certain structure, like,
Mhm.
all the biggest hit songs have been, like, the same 3 chords, throughout history, and that works for most people, but,
Yeah.
you found what speaks to you, and then you create what speaks to other people, and that's what's cool about music.
Yeah. No, 1,000%. Like, and that's why, I tell artists all the time, especially newer cats coming in, um, that it's like, dude, just express whatever
Mhm,
speaks to you. You translate that your own way. And
mhm.
that's like, even when it comes to like my cover tunes, sometimes like how I'll cover a certain song that everyone knows well, but in a completely different style. Right.
Yeah.
Um, that's how it is for me, because I remember, what was it, Randy Orton's theme song. I kind of did it where it was like a male quartet, but we were all just low singing kind of in a
Mhm.
way, and cats are like, yo, I this is a crazy different take on this song. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what I like, I'm only giving you guys a translation of like what I feel when I hear the original piece, because when you
Mhm,
listen to the original piece, you're like, oh, they have some blues influences there. They have
mhm,
this there. And I'm like, that's kind of speaking of like to this other style. So that's why I did it that way. Same thing when I covered the main theme of Sonic Adventure 1, Open Your Heart. And that's a hard rock metal song, right? But I did it in
mhm.
like a old down by the river like type way. Like, so
Yeah.
guys are like, yo, uh this hit. I'm like,
I gotta say one that I was listening to, quite a bit leading up to this. It was
Mhm.
a collaboration you did with Cheeks Clapping paired with Wonderwall by Oasis.
You what?
And and I was like, I listened through it the first time and I was like, "This is fucking funny." And then I listened to it again and I was like, "This is a really good take on this song."
Dude, okay, I gotta tell you how that even came about. So my friend Angel, that's the type of content she does, right? And she was doing a challenge where she was supposed to be clapping booty
Yeah,
like every day.
as
Um
one does.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Up until like the number 30. And she messaged me and she was like, "Hey, can you do like a reaction video to like one of my things?" And I was like, "Which one?" And she was like, to this series, like because I had been on a live with her before. Like I just happened to jump into a live where she was on a show with like a bunch of like rappers or something like from Chicago or something. And they
Mhm,
were trying to get her to twerk or whatever. Like she is a dancer, she does that. And they brought me in because she noticed I came into the chat just saying hi, and she finds me to be a funny guy. She knows I'm not a dude that like sexualizes her, and we can actually just have conversations. So
mhm.
she was like, "Bring him in," and I'm like, "Huh?" So I come in, and they're still trying to get her to twerk or whatever, and then she's like, "I mean, I'll do it if he's here, yay!" And she just goes. I'm like, yeah, nice. So then when she asked me to react to it, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to react to this, considering like that doesn't make me go like, like I'm like that's not how I do it. So I was like, I feel like you messaged me this because you know I'm gonna throw a spin on it, and she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, all right, just
And
give me
it
a
was
couple of days.
it was a very creative spin, I gotta say. Like, I listened to it through a few times, and, like, the first time I was just like, it was the comedy aspect that grabbed me, and then I was like, "Wait a second, he's killing this song." Like, obviously, everyone and their mother who's ever picked up a guitar has covered Wonderwall.
At some point, at
Yeah,
some point.
like, it just comes with the territory, like, you've learned that song if you ever picked up an acoustic
You
guitar.
either learn it because you're sitting at home or you learn it live like I did.
Yeah, because it's melodic, it's catchy, it's easy to play,
Mhm.
um, but yeah, that twist you put on it, I wish I had it handy, but
It was so funny. Like there was a cat and the guy was like, "You should go on tour with this." I was like, "What?" I was like, first of all, and I was thinking logistically. I was like, "Can she keep that tempo for 4 minutes?"
yeah. Well, you don't even you could do, like, a one-minute version, you could do whatever you want and just, mic
Exactly.
up her butt.
Here you go. Hey yo,
Yeah, just, "Hey, could you back it up a little more to the microphone?"
explaining that to a sound guy, I would love to do it because I've worked in AV for years at this point. So I'll be like, "Listen, we have a musician, and
Yeah, she's got a natural instrument.
yes, she does. And just understand the plosives will be very, very tough. So you might need a filter. Okay. Um, here she is. And they were like, "So where's the instrument?" "All right, baby girl, do your work."
Yeah, clap along if you got the if you got the goods.
Oh my goodness, man. No, I remember somebody also commented because they thought I was gonna do what was that? They thought I was gonna do Hey Ya. Like when I went 1, 2, 3, I was like, "My baby don't." I was like, dude, if I'd have busted out to that, I don't think I would have been able to keep a straight face, first of all.
Yeah, yeah, that's gotta be tough.
Yeah, no. That's the
Um,
hardest part of some of this stuff is keeping a straight face while I'm doing it. And hey.
oh, yeah, I have the same problem. Like, it I try to do everything in one take just because I don't take it that serious, but, like, sometimes I catch myself making myself laugh because 'cause I'm a dad and that's what we do.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't wanna necessarily go in this order with things, but you kind of touched on it a little bit. So,
Mm,
in the content that you've made over the years, you've collaborated with a lot of women
mm,
that, get sexualized on the internet, and people have probably certain assumptions as to why you're collaborating with these women, but
mm,
you recently talked about how you have this philosophy about not pursuing women if it's not right, like, just because, they have a sexual presence or they're physically attractive, and if there's not that connection, you would be more likely to introduce that person to a friend that you think would vibe with them. Um, tell me a little bit more about this kind of thought process and this philosophy.
So I've my dating life, I would say, didn't really start until my late 20s because um I didn't entertain the idea of dating at all until I was 18.
Mhm,
And then after that, like I was in like 2 4 year long relationships.
mhm,
And it's just like, oh, so I never really was out here date. I just ended up with a girlfriend,
right.
So um one thing that I did notice uh was a big problem with friends or people in my community is, I understand we as humans, we have like we're not trying to go into things with a pessimistic mindset or anything, or maybe you're just ready to go or something like that. But I'm like, the best relationships that I've seen, at least in my experience up to a certain point, I'm like, they had very good bases, whether it's friendships or just an understanding there, right?
Mhm,
So I was never really a guy who would try to jump the gun off of a first meetup or something like that anyway, or like, if even if I thought this person was drop dead gorgeous, it's like, but who are they? That's what was
mhm,
hitting me in the head. And I've I've gone through it a lot. Like whether I was dating somebody or not, like if I ran into a person, they were very pretty or something like that. And maybe they even were attracted to me. If I was in a relationship, it was just a no-go for me anyway. It was just out. And
sure.
I stayed out the way. But um if I spoke to them, like let's say the dialogue went on and I'm kind of seeing something here, like, I feel like, you know, this conversation or something that they were sticking on, maybe I didn't know something about a
Mhm,
certain subject or something like that, but I'm like, I know a person that does, and I feel like they can connect on this, or I feel based on the vibe that they're giving me that they would be able to connect to this other person a lot better.
mhm,
um I am I'm just humble enough to just not try to pursue a person simply because of my attraction to them. It's like, does this work?
right.
That's where it comes from with me. And I've seen a lot of people ruin some things because they just didn't get their head out of their pants, or maybe it's just the idea of like, okay, well, I liked her first. Or, and some guys like to say that only women do this. It's like, no, some men do it too, where they're like, okay, they liked this girl first, it didn't work out, and then that's, it's like, okay, yeah, it didn't work out between y'all, but let's say y'all weren't physical or something like that, right? Like,
Mhm,
then why? It's not even the idea of like, oh, you're passing somebody around. No, it's not that. Get to know this person. If it didn't work, it didn't work. Okay.
mhm,
As long as nobody was hurt, y'all didn't go past a certain point, something like that, there's nothing wrong with this going on over here. It's not, because
right.
that could be a beautiful thing. There's
Mhm,
like one of my best friends. He's seeing a girl who we've been open with that, like where when she and I first hung out, there was like something there. Like, we was like, okay, well, she seems interesting. Okay,
mhm,
cool. But like nothing happened between us. No kisses, no nothing that, no hugs, no hooking up, nothing. But I knew, like off the first drink conversation, I'm like, yo, this cat, you need to meet a friend of mine.
mhm,
You need to meet a friend of mine. And they've
mhm.
been ever since, right?
Yeah,
And it's just like, what? Why would I try to gatekeep off of that? I just
yeah,
don't think it's necessary. One of my other good friends, he just got married, but a really good friend of his, he met his wife because of the same thing. He was actually dating a lady, and she recommended that he meet who is now his wife,
mhm,
because off of their first like meetup, they talked it out, and she was like, okay, like, well, at least from his wife's description of it, she said she got a call, said, hey, there's this guy, he's not really my type, went out with him, just to let you know, but I think you should be open to this, right?
Yeah.
And they met up, and yeah, happily ever after. I don't think I've ever seen those two people, and they're not just smiling. Like, it was like, good God, man. But
Yeah, is that real?
yeah,
Uh,
like, is that like, hey, wink, wink, you good? Like, but yeah, no,
yeah,
I just think a lot of people get caught up within themselves, right? You know,
sure.
you mean well, or you have these ideas.
Mhm,
You have ideas, but it's not the final. It's not the final result, you know. And if
mm,
it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Heck, there's someone who I spent a considerable amount of time with, where the dynamic just changed. I realized what our relationship was.
mhm,
And I'm like, okay, so now I have to stop this part of it so we can move forward rather than
yeah,
keeping that going. And then next thing you know, it's like, okay, now it's blown up into something that it really shouldn't be, because
mhm,
either my heart's not there in the capacity that it needs, in the way that it needs to be for them, you know?
yeah,
And it's just like, dude, just take your ego, put it over here, and look at it for what it is. And then with a lot of the creators specifically, sorry for cutting you off, a lot of the
no,
creators
you're good.
specifically, I know that a lot of them get bombarded with this stuff every day. Like, I mean, shoot, you should see my DMs, dude. I'm like, ugh. But
Yeah,
like, now most of that is filtered out nowadays. I don't have to see it. I'm like, okay, no random bottom hole pics. Okay. But it's I'm like, they deal with this every single day.
yeah,
And that's where kind of then I can connect to, because they've been in those situations where they are working with someone, and then you realize the reason why they want to work with you is because they want to do something else with you.
mhm,
And it's like, for real, like, I either thought I had a friend, I thought I had a business partner, and then it all depends on how I decide to navigate this in whatever way you want me to.
mhm,
And that's not fair. It's not
yeah,
fair. And
yeah.
yeah, no.
I, I don't wanna yet circle back to martial arts yet,
Mhm.
but it's it's very much the same in the martial arts world. I've trained at a lot of gyms, I've lived in a lot of different places, and I've seen the same kind of patterns where, you get to that coach level and it comes with a certain amount of power, a certain amount of respect, but also a certain amount of admiration
Mhm.
that's not always appropriate. And there are coaches, unfortunately, that a female student will come ask a question after class and they'll, put their arm around like, yeah, come talk to coach. How about a free private? And then,
Mhm.
next thing, that young lady's not training at the gym anymore after a
Yep.
few weeks. And unfortunately, I've seen it time and time again. But your philosophy and what you're talking about is is definitely something I picked up on. And it takes a certain level of maturity and a certain level of selflessness that most people never reach and most people never understand. And I think a lot of people have to really read between the lines to see that with you because a lot of your content is sexualized and they
Mhm.
must look at you and think like, "Oh, this guy's a player and he's just like sleeping with all these women in his videos." And then I kind of like peruse through the comments here and there and I'm like, you don't get this guy at all. Like
Mhm.
he's creating something. He's playing a character and like you put that honesty out there and sometimes it flies under the radar, but that's why I wanted to highlight that particular thing that you were talking about with being selfless and wanting to see other relationships flourish when something doesn't work out with you where a lot of people are just thinking about like how can I benefit from this
Mhm.
relationship and if I can't then fuck it.
Yeah, it's like, you can't, at least to me, I'm like, you can't really have that mentality and then expect to um move forward, especially from a community aspect, you know, because once again, you can ruin something special just by sticking around too long in a situation, and that's whether you guys work out, or maybe
Hmm.
somebody within your community that could have potentially worked out, or it's just y'all are able to just stay friends and just move, a certain way. There's no extra awkwardness. And you're allowing yourself to be free and them to be free. It just works a lot better. It's like if you can just take away the extra. And I understand with some people, like you might have felt like you lost something, or
Mhm.
you feel like, dang, that was a waste of my time, or this, that, and let it go.
Yeah, and the easy thing to do is to kinda give into those primal instincts
Hmm.
and pursue those situations. Now, me personally, I have a similar mentality to you, like, especially in the coaching role, I have a lot of female students, and they come up to me after class, like, "Coach, I have a question." "Great, step back on the mat, ask me your question, we'll address it here, and then you go on to do whatever it is you do in your personal life, and we keep
Hmm.
this a professional relationship." And that's where the growth happens when you do the more difficult things and not kind of pursue those advances,
Hmm.
um, because you're not going to grow from it. You're gonna have a few nights that are fun, and and then you're not any better of a person. They're not any better of a person because of
No,
it.
and you might have heard something like my coach Ron Young. Shout out to him and Travel Train Teach. Even when he was coaching at the Beta Academy in Washington D.C., that's where I ended up meeting him in 2016. He has always shown a level of professionalism. He and as well as the other coaches that are Travel Trade Chiefs, they all came from Beta Academy. Um, they all showed a level of professionalism where there was never that discomfort. Like there was never you never saw the avalanche come.
Hmm.
And I've seen it in other gyms as well, where you got coaches or you got someone on the fight team, something like that, and they end up, getting with a student or something. This is like, okay, well, now this dynamic has changed and you don't know what kind of chain reaction that's going to have. Maybe they won't show up anymore. Maybe they'll end up talking to other women, and now there's a weird thing going on here, and maybe you lose more students, or maybe there's just like a weird tension going on in the gym. You don't really want that, especially when you're in that position of being a teacher, you
Hmm.
know. um
Hmm.
I'm like I said it years ago, because there was I'm not gonna name the gym, not gonna name the person, but he was a guy and he had a thing for getting with students. I'm like, I need you to understand, this is like when you're doing these things and you're wondering why these other things are happening to you, or why there's a certain energy in the gym, this, that, and the other. I need you to think of yourself as a parent. As a parent, this is what happens when parents they kids. Okay,
Hmm.
chill out. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it too many times, and it you don't realize sometimes as a coach, like, how much your actions influence people.
Mhm.
The things you say, like, they put you up on a pedestal. The
Yeah.
things you say, the way you act, the way you carry yourself, um, it influences them deeply, like,
Mhm.
more than, like, anything you put out on the internet or anything you do in your personal life. You're in a role where people are looking up to you because they respect you. If they don't, that's another issue.
Yeah.
But, when you have a certain energy, people pick up on it, and it affects things. It can, it's the kind of thing that can bring down a gym. But, circling back away from martial arts, the question I wanted to ask, because you seem to have all like this sage advice on relationships, um, what's would you say is the most important lesson you've learned from a past relationship?
Um, there's honesty and there's transparency, right?
Mhm.
Um, being transparent is a very big thing. I've gone through a considerable amount of my life being very, very independent. Like I was raised like to be independent, and even like with my mother, grandmother, stuff like that. They never really saw me as being a guy that would be out dating or doing anything anyway, right? So
Mhm.
they kind of had their opinions on like how I should be out here. And I lived a lot of life for myself, not in a selfish way. Like I always took care of my friends and people around me. But when it came to relationships, the biggest thing I had a problem with was being transparent, because to me, I'm like, why does anyone have to clock me? Right. But at the end of the day, when you're entering this partnership with a person, it's better to be I'm dealing with that. Shoot, I'm dealing with that right now. I'll just be
Mhm,
open and honest with that. Um, when you're not transparent, when you allow past situations to affect your current,
mhm,
um, these are just recipes for disaster. So if let's say you're in a new situation, you're dating someone new, just those other situations, you might have had a horrible ex or horrible ex-wife, ex-husband, whatever.
mhm.
This person is not that person.
Right.
Okay. Just clean slate that right there. It's good to have discernment. It's good to be cognizant. But, being reactionary, especially when something seems parallel, but you don't really know what that is that's where communication comes in. It's like try to latch on to that so you don't break someone else or yourself, and just let it out, be transparent. Just and like, oh, I told you I was going over here. It's like, yeah, but what were you doing over there?
Mhm,
Um it's a lot easier because my father has a saying, trouble is easy to get in but hard to get out of. Trust is the same way. Trust is easy to screw up and hard to build back. So
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's an important distinction because a lot of people carry that baggage from past relationships, and it does make it harder to be transparent with the person that's right in front of you because, you have those trust issues, and
Mhm.
then there's all kinds of buzzwords and propaganda of like, "Oh, I was dating a narcissist." Well, were you really?
I'm like, you sure?
Because people diagnosed with being narcissistic are like 0.5% of the population. So you've managed to like only date this type of people. And I think it's pretty easy, like once you have the idea of a concept, to make people fit into
Yeah.
that concept. And that's just one example. There are 1,000 different examples when it comes to relationships.
Mhm.
But that's one of them that I always see as like, have you ever thought that you were the problem too? Because
Dude,
everybody brings problems to relationships.
1,000%. Like one of the last person who was my uh the last girlfriend I had, I'll say that.
Mhm,
How we ended up fizzling out is because there was a huge communication issue, and that's because the way she expressed to me, I could not receive because I didn't um get a hold on the things that affected me from my past, what I thought I got over. Like, yeah, I had a person that unfortunately did some very, very terrible things to me, and it's just like, well, there was just a situation of which I thought, once again, I was not being heard, I was not being considered. So then
mhm,
I started to act a certain way, not in a way where I'm running around cheating or acting a fool, but it's just like, okay, well, if you're not going to listen to the things that I say, I'm going to just move. And if you accuse me of anything or say anything else, then, well, now it's go time. Now I have something to say, and I'm going to point my finger in your chest when you're pointing the finger in mine. When it's like, that shouldn't have been the case at all.
mhm,
Like, of course, out a while later, like, she and I had that come to Jesus moment where we're fine now. She's still one of the funniest comedians I've ever met in my life. I'll never take that away from her. But it's like, oh wow, we really couldn't communicate. And that was because I started to grab hold of the idea that you were doing the same thing that this other person did.
mhm.
And that just wasn't even the case. Like, you were communicating to me the best way you could, but at the same time, that was a result of what you dealt with. And it was just an unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm glad you touched on that because communication is, in my opinion, and I'm no expert on relationships, communication is a constant struggle in a
Mhm.
relationship. I've been with my wife 11 years now, um, and we still like talk about like you're not hearing what I'm saying,
Mhm.
and I'm not really saying what I mean, and that sort of thing. And we have to constantly address it. And I think a lot of people don't do that because it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have to admit, like, Yeah, I'm thinking in this way. I'm interpreting what you're saying in a certain way because of the traumas I've had, and I'm then taking that out on you, and it's a constant. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Like, it once it ends, it means, like, you don't wanna put effort anymore, and it's done, but, like, I think relationships can never be perfect, and you have to constantly be working on them, and that fact makes people give up on them easier.
Yeah. It's you just got to remember you're still two different people.
Mhm,
Like even with the idea of like union, you come together as one, but you're still two different people. You're two imperfect beings.
mhm.
So you're coming together trying to move together. And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, listen, sometimes you might stumble. Sometimes it's hard to, and you love this person to death. It's like sometimes you're not speaking the same language.
right.
Sometimes you're not. And you just, if you could just sit back and remember that and try to be open, it'll
Mhm,
make it a lot easier rather than it's, especially with now in the internet age and so many people speaking, because you got so many outraged people. You got guys that are stuck on the hurt. You have women that are stuck on the hurt. And it's like, if you stick on the hurt, you're not going to get what you're saying you actually want
mhm,
because you're prioritizing the hurt over everything else. If you prioritize that, how can you appreciate the happiness that could come your way?
yeah,
um it's a very hard thing to do, and it's like I understand, like as a guy that, especially when I was a kid, had horrendous anger issues. It it was it was the idea, like, I'm focusing on, once again, I'm either not being heard, or if somebody was just doing something to me, it's like, okay, well, now I'm stuck on that. I'm not really worried about the resolution. I'm worried about how I feel and then what I want to do that might not actually help.
mhm,
So but how does it get better? And I learned growing up, like, thank God I got this concept before high school, because I would have been in way more fights in high school. Um, that it's just like you could focus on solving the problem.
mhm.
And if you're not in a place to solve the problem, hey, I'm out. Like it's
Yeah. It comes back to doing the thing that's easy to do
Mhm.
versus the thing that's going to, provoke growth. Whereas, like, the easy thing to do is to get mad and blow up at somebody
Mhm.
or to end a relationship. The difficult thing to do is say, like, "Hey, I don't really understand where you're coming from when you say this, and this is how it made me feel, and, like, how can we get past this?"
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, even with that last relationship, right? Like up until that point, like I had never really had the space for it. And that's when it started to click in my head, like, oh, you've never really been in like a healthy relationship. There's good times in like a lot of situations, but as far as like communication goes, it's like, oh no, I've never really been up until that point a healthy situation where we could sit and it's like, hey, this is an open table where we could discuss this, rather it just being like I feel this way and you XYZ, and now you got to do whatever the heck I want to do, even though I haven't really solved the problem in my head, and now we're gonna be going down this freaking crazy slope.
Mhm,
It's it's oh man, it's crazy. And I was reminded of that even with the person that like I'm seeing now, where it's like, oh, you we could work this out. We could speak on this rather than
yeah,
I thought it was jump out the window time.
mhm.
Yeah.
And it gets even more messy when you throw in, raising a child together because you have, like you said, you're two different people. You have two different philosophies. You have two different backgrounds. You have two different sets of traumas. And then you have to then try and bring this child into the world together. And it becomes, well, I told the kid this, but I told the kid
Mhm.
this. Well, why did you do that? And trying to understand each other in and also trying to benefit, like, that life that you're raising together.
Yeah, like, and then let's like, dude, they take in everything like a sponge, everything.
Yes.
So that's the other thing you got to consider.
Yes.
I've seen it go. every which way with kids I grew up with, whether I knew something was going on in their house, and even with yeah, I'm 30, I'm 34. I have friends that are raising children now, and like unfortunately, with some situations I see, I'm like, hey, the things that y'all are doing are gonna affect that child in a way,
Mhm.
and when it comes out, it you're either gonna know or you're gonna be totally blindsided. But that's because they see and they hear everything,
Yeah.
whether they understand it in that moment or not.
Mhm.
It's gonna be expressed. It's gonna be expressed, and like
Yeah.
my nephews, they especially my oldest one, like I consider him. It's funny because my older brother, he calls me his first son because he had to watch me like all the time when I was a kid. He's like, you prepped me to be a dad because
How
his
much older is he?
he's 11 years.
That's the same, age difference as my brother and I.
Oh yeah.
Except I'm the older brother.
Oh man, yeah, like because Dewan, he's 11 years older. Sean, yes, all our names rhyme. He's 20 years older than me. So
Okay.
yeah, everyone thought Sean was my dad growing up. I'm like, yeah, wait till my father actually walks in this building, and they're like, oh, it's a split image. You look exactly the same. I'm like, why? Yes,
Genetics work that way.
yeah. The McNeils, they just pound it into you. but
Yeah.
yeah, no, the kids, they take everything
Yeah.
in, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm telling you, like my oldest nephew, he is a lot like me. But one thing he's picked up that I had when I was a kid is I was like, well, I'm not gonna make the same mistakes that I see my brothers making, and he ain't making no mistakes he's seen me make.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But he would always ask questions just like I did when I was a kid. And I was like, glad you're asking. I'm going to try to translate this to you as best as I can.
Oh,
So,
dude, that's my daily life is that my kid will ask me these philosophical life questions, and I'm like, "How do I translate that?" Like, my wife has actually, like, used AI to, like, "How do I explain this concept to a seven-year-old?" And it's like it's crazy because, like, they get so much, but they also don't see the big picture because they
yeah,
don't have any life
they're
experience to
not there
compare it
yet, man.
yeah, but it's like anything else. You have to be able to admit what you're doing wrong and let your kid know that you are flawed as a human being too, and you make
Mhm.
mistakes, and um, that takes a certain amount of humility to do, to admit to like a young kid that like yeah, I fuck up too,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's a struggle, but I want to change the tone a little bit.
let's do it.
So, I know you're a big video game guy.
Yeah.
So here's my question:
Oh boy.
for the rest of your life, you have one video game that you allowed to play. What would you choose?
For the rest of my life,
You can play one game.
one game. Oh man, yeah, that's a toughie because well, I'm a big MMO guy, so I'll stick to that. Because if I say Tekken, it's like I don't want to fight every day.
What's
Um,
what's MMO?
MMO is a massive multiplayer online. It's the whole thing is MMORPG, so massive multiplayer online role playing game.
Okay,
So
so this
essentially
would be
like
like
essentially
Warcraft.
Dungeon and Dragons. Yeah, like World of Warcraft,
Okay,
RuneScape, Conquer Online. I was playing Final Fantasy 14 recently. I really like that game. So it would have to be, you know what? No. If I'm gonna trail back. Yes, I am an MMO guy. I would like to play those for the rest of my life. But if I had to choose, it would be Assassin's Creed Revelations.
okay.
I'd
What
do it.
what platform is that on?
That's on well, it's on all of them now, but I played it on PlayStation, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
why that one?
I really like doing like tactical. It's you can be as tactical espionage in a way. Like, but I love medieval type stuff. Love
Okay,
that. And then just the idea of you having to sneak around, you're going through catacombs, you're climbing on all this stuff. It's just like, yo, dude, in order to get to one spot when I could possibly bum rush this entire castle, problem solving. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. That's the big thing for me. I'm like, if it's a video game where have to think, I love it. Um, so yeah, I would play Assassin's Creed Revelations, maybe without me possibly getting murdered, but
Mhm.
it's like but I mean, it's a video game. I'm playing that for the rest of my life. That's fine. I'll do it.
Yeah, so it's
Mhm.
that kind of like choose your own adventure aspect of it where you can make decisions, they have consequences or rewards.
Mhm. Yeah, like, and I'd say it's more like that now with the Assassin's Creed games. Back then, there was like a clear story, this, that, and the other. But you still still the decisions you made affected a lot. So I like that aspect of it. Plus, I do like, just like I said, medieval warfare and things like that. Kind of being a ninja in that setting worked out for me. Other than that, yeah, once again, if I'm going back to the MMO world, probably Final Fantasy 14. Yeah, I get to fight dragons and anything else. Cool, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I was a big I was big into, Final Fantasy VII.
Ah, yeah.
That was that was the game that stands out in my
Hmm.
childhood as being like, I was in that game, you know? But I think your answer, speaks a lot to you as a person. That's why I wanted to ask that question.
Hmm.
And I pretty much, you know, got the answer I was looking for with just the way you described, you know, wanting that choose your own adventure and
Hmm.
dealing with the consequences and, reaping the benefits as well. I think that's pretty much how you live your life too.
Yeah. No, no. I Life is what you make it, man. It really is.
It is. And we've come to the point in the show now where we're going to talk about your martial arts journey because that's where your life has taken you.
Oh boy.
So, the question I want to start off with is um, you're a Nak Muay now.
Mhm.
Um, you've practiced Muay Thai for a long time. I'm a Muay Thai practitioner myself for more years than I'd like to admit. But I know why I was drawn to Muay Thai, but I want to know what what about Muay Thai specifically attracted you?
Um, so let's circle back to 2016. I was made aware that I was depressed and did not know it because I went through a lot of life not really understanding that I could be, right? Because my definition of depressed was someone sitting over in a corner and just weeping all the time, which is, of course, that's an exaggeration.
Mhm,
um and also just not being in the greatest relationship and stuff like that. I came to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to do something for myself. I need to reset. I need something like outside of work, outside of going home to this situation and all this other stuff. I'm like, what can I do for myself that I could just keep everything outside? I could focus here.
mhm.
And um martial arts came into my head because growing up, I did taekwondo, and I was always dabbling in other arts with friends of mine because a lot of my friends did different arts, whether it was wushu, kung fu, some kickbox, some boxed, and I was like, I want to get back to that. That's something that I got away from that I always wanted to do, but when I was
How
a
long did
kid,
you do taekwondo?
um, not too long, actually, not crazy long, because I never competed,
Mhm.
but my mother, she saw that, or at least in her mind, uh, bless her, she didn't think I had much of an interest in it because it didn't seem like I was haha he he happy, and it seemed like I was more happy doing basketball. I'm like, well, no, my friends are playing basketball and I like being there with them. I'm serious here because I'm just like, how do I do this? I'm not trying to fall, balance, da 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 da. So she kind of took me out of that, but that was just something that I just wanted to do, and I was like, okay.
But it made enough of an impact on
Mhm.
you to
Yeah,
trigger something in you that said, "Maybe this is the solution to what I'm feeling."
exactly. And I always felt happy doing it. Once again, I'm like, this is something that I can focus on where I don't have to worry about anything else. This is here right now. And
Mm.
which is funny because what made me want to do Taekwondo in the first place was my mother used to do Taibo. And then I was like, huh, that guy actually did martial arts. So I
Old
wanted to
Billy
jump in on that.
Blanks?
Yep. Old Billy Blanks. One, two, come on. Let me stop. But yeah, I was like, okay, let's focus on martial arts. What do you want to do? And I didn't want to get back into Taekwondo again. I was thinking about Kyokushin if I could find a gym. Um, and then I had a few friends of mine from high school that were competing in MMA. And I contacted one of them and I was just like, hey, what gyms in the area do you think I should go to? And of course, they recommend theirs, but they recommended others. And I just said, okay, I'll look to contact a couple of these things, see if I can come in for a trial class or something. And I had been watching a lot of MMA at the time that I ended up watching a lot of Muay Thai at the time as well. And I was like, this seems very interesting, but it's intense, like because I had only watched movies back in the day, and then I'm seeing these competitions. I'm like, these guys are going for broken here. Good
Mhm.
God. And then the gym that I ended up going to, they actually I ended up sending them an email and they got back to me first saying, like, hey, you can come in for a trial class, you could try our Muay Thai class or a jiu-jitsu class. That's what we offer. And I went over, and when I got there, they were like, well, have you studied anything else? And I was just like, I'm going to say I'm a blank slate. Nope.
Mhm.
I was like, I'm a doofus. I know nothing. But
Yeah.
they took me in and, they were sharing these concepts with me. I kind of winced in for a second and saw some of the guys on the fight team at the time just doing their thing in the back. And I was like, these guys are focused. These guys are focused. These guys are focused. I think I like it here. And
Mhm.
then I signed up that day and I came back and I came back. And then the more I came back, the more I wanted to get into it. Now, the one big thing I had to get over was standing as bladed as I did because I was so used to the TKD stance, and I was practicing boxing with some friends of mine, and I was like, okay, yeah, bladed stance. Yeah, you get your leg kicked like that.
Mhm.
I had to learn that the hard way.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's what really got me into it. It was like the intensity of seeing the competition, but then also seeing how like graceful these guys were. Like they could be so like professional and then happy at the same time. It's like, yo, watching these videos, some of these guys are some of the jolliest dudes you'll see, but then you get in the ring and you're like, oh goodness, a murderer. Like, so I was like, I like I like this idea. So at least let me train with it. And I told myself in the beginning, I'm like, well, if I train, I want to compete once, at least once. And then I kept going and kept going. And the gym I was at the time, which was once again Beta Academy in Washington, DC, which my coaches come from, they were very big on like, hey, we're not going to rush you. You know, it's like we're here to take care of you. There are some people here for fitness. There are some people here for self defense. There are some we don't know why people are here. If you want to go any direction, let us know,
Mhm.
and we'll walk with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just kind of what kept me hooked. And anytime I get to learn something, hey, I'm here for it.
That makes me happy to hear because it validates my mentality as a coach, because I always ask people when they come in what their experience is. If they don't have martial arts experience or they say they don't, I ask them what sports they played,
Mhm.
and I try to make analogies to those sports, like if they played hockey, for example, or if they played basketball. Like when you're on defense in basketball, you never want to cross your legs, right? Because
Mm-mm.
you're going to be off balance.
Mhm.
You're going to get crossed up. It's the same thing in Muay Thai. When you move, you don't want to cross your legs, and just try to make those associations for them. But I've never pressured anybody to compete. Like 1% of the people who come through the door are going to end up competing,
Mhm.
if that. Most people just want to learn a skill. They want to be able to defend themselves. They want to get fit. They're tired of going to a Planet Fitness or whatever. They want to do something different. Um, and if they come to you and tell you they want to compete, they mean it.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, if you're gonna train here, you're gonna compete and you're gonna be a killer, that approach doesn't work to me.
You're to
And
scare half the people off, number one.
yeah, and I appreciate the people who train under me that are just there to for fitness and to learn,
Mhm.
as much as I appreciate the people who compete and that I corner and that I train regularly. Um, they all become like family. So I'm glad you said that. The other point I want to touch on is, the fact that these guys are so jolly. It reminded me of a guy, one of my training partners, Noah Solomon. he's um he's done several trips to Thailand. He's fought over there several times. He just went pro this year. He's fighting for freedom fights in New York City at the end of this month for a title. And this kid, when he came in the gym, he had Muay Thai experience. He was training with another coach, and he's just like a silly guy. Like, you see him in the gym, he's always smiling. He's always playing Taylor Swift or like Lady Gaga on the radio and singing along. And you think like, how do you take this guy seriously? And then he gets in the ring and he's a fucking killer.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to flip that switch, and he kind of embodies that Muay Thai spirit of like just being happy go lucky. And oh yeah, I also like cut people open with elbows for fun.
Dude, it's something else. It's something else when you see how they can they're very light when it comes to life, but in there they can turn it on.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, no, that's control.
Hmm.
That's control. And that was another thing too, because especially during that time that I was feeling a certain way, and I'm like, I need something for myself. Like I felt myself dipping back into like how I felt as a kid. Like I'm about ready to explode because of all this shit going on right now. And I don't need that. I don't need it at all. And then like being around so many of these guys where it's like, wow, even when things are not going your way, because I've seen some crazy sparring rounds, and I'm sure you have too. I'm like, even when things aren't going your way, you're still keeping your cool. You're still keeping your cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, no. I want to be able to apply that to the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that's what got me.
I think that's the beauty of martial arts, is that whatever you're going through, and I know you like to talk about mental health and emotional states and relationships and even politics sometimes, and whatever you're feeling, whatever your beliefs are,
Mhm.
whatever is going on in your head, you can only focus on that person that's trying to punch and kick you in that moment. And it's such a cathartic release in that moment. And I think that's what a lot of people benefit from martial arts, and that's like the exactly the type of answer that I hoped to get out of you.
Hmm.
And that's the reason that I started this segment. For It's really geared towards people who are thinking about, like, I might want to do martial arts. I don't know if I want to fight, or what I want to do, but um the whole goal of this How I Met the Mat segment is to build up who the person is, what they're about, what their ideologies are, how they think about life, what they do for a living, and then why they got into martial arts and why it's benefited them. Now, you have developed yourself to a certain level over the past 9 years, if my math is right,
Mhm.
which is, you know, that's a great length of time to have a relationship with anything. And
Yeah.
it says a lot about you that you've been able to dedicate yourself that long to something. So you've done a couple of the MDLs, the Muay Thai
Mhm.
Development League. So talk to me about your experience with that.
Um, well, it was a very structured experience, I'll tell you that, because I had done a smoker prior to those. It was an in-house smoker at Beta Academy, and
Mhm.
I mean, it was weird for me because we were all training for it, and then when you found out who your opponent was that day, even though I kind of had an idea who mine was, you're just looking at him like, it's you. I
Mhm.
trade with you every day.
Mhm.
So it's like, God dang it. What are we gonna do here? Shout out to my buddy Lawrence John. awesome. He hits like a truck, but hey, he's still knocking people out today. I'm like, hey, have fun with that, dude. You just fought in
Yeah.
Warriors Cup, I believe. But
Legit.
yeah, no, dude's phenomenal. But yeah, that was like my experience with that. So I was like, well, that was something else. So fast forward years and years later, it was last December where I did my first MDL,
Mhm.
and I just thought, one, I was like, I like this concept because
Mhm.
it truly is about learning. You have the officials there who are critiquing you. You have the official in there with you who will let everyone know, like, hey, tone it down, or hey, think about this or whatever. It's like it's this big educational system
Mhm.
of which I'm like, this is very, very beneficial because you'll either come from a culture where a gym culture where like that is just not the case at all. Some people just throw the headgear on you and launch you up in there, and that's, you know, you're on someone's highlight reel.
Mhm.
I think this is a good way for people to get that experience, and for some people who want to try competition but might not really be sure if they really want to do it, and then they'll figure it out right then and there in a safe environment, you know, rather than once again jumping in the ring and getting flying kneed.
Mhm.
And then, you know, they have kids doing it there too. I'm like, this is a good experience for martial arts in general, the community that comes with each of these martial artists. I think it's great. I think it's great. And of course, I've learned every single time while I was in there, like what I needed to work on, whether it's ducking my head too low or just position, things like that, and just when to make certain adjustments. I'll say that.
Mhm.
And then also, like, it helps simulate like what you're going to get when you're actually at a fight too, because you have all this noise around you, and you might hear your coach, you might not. So what decisions are you going to make in that situation? Right?
Mhm.
Or you hear your coach and it sounds like the Charlie Brown. What?
Yeah.
You don't want to be this guy, huh?
Yep. Um, you know, I keep throwing them up there and you keep knocking them out of the park, and you keep giving me the responses that I hope to hear. And as you know, I'm a WBC official, you know,
Mhm,
so I'm the one who does the critiquing. I'm the one who
mhm,
does the refereeing and does all that. So it makes me happy to hear that the training I've gone through is being applied in other areas of the country as well. And from what you've told me about your experience with the MDL,
mhm.
it aligns with what they're trying to do. Get
Yeah.
people adjusted to the environment of competition in a safe, controlled space where they get feedback, positive and negative,
Mhm,
because we're trained to give everybody positive. Even if somebody comes out there as a total spaz, you know, we give them something positive that they're doing and tell them what they need to work on.
mhm.
And as well as, you know, making sure nobody's getting knocked out, nobody's getting hurt. And that's been my experience with the MDL as well. I wish it was around like when I was coming up. Maybe it was, and I just didn't know about it. But I encourage every single person in the gym, if you're even thinking about competing, do this first.
Mhm,
It's a great experience. You're not going to get hurt. You're going to get those competition jitters.
mhm,
You're going to get to experience all of that, and knowing that there's not going to be dire consequences, and you're going to leave it with notes from a professional who's going to be able to tell you how to grow as a martial artist. And your coaches can take that and do with it what they will. You know, I've had
yeah.
coaches take my feedback and crumple it up and say like, "Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." But
Man.
um I think it's a great first step into competition, and I was happy for you that you did that first.
Mhm,
Like, when I first saw that you were doing an MDL, you know, you and I talked about it, and, I I couldn't have been happier for you, and now you're gonna go ahead and do an amateur fight Saturday, November 1st for the Muay Thai Amateur Athletic Circuit
mhm,
in Maryland.
mhm.
So, how are you feeling going into this? And how do you think your experience doing the MDL, in addition to your 9 years of training, has helped you prepare for this?
I think definitely the MDLs have put me back in a place of, okay, well, you're gonna be in there with somebody that you don't know. And this is just a problem. This is a problem you have to solve, and you
Mhm,
have to be dialed into that, right? And
mhm,
then the simulation of people around, you're hearing the noise, and don't worry about the noise, none of that.
mhm,
um I'd say with my experience over like the 9 years, it's I'd say it's prepared me in a way where I feel very confident. Of course, I'm not um shortchanging my opponent at all. Like, I don't know how long he's trained. I know he's younger than me. I do not know how long he's trained. I know he's in a naval academy, so he's doing push-ups every day in this. Um,
alright,
so it's like, oh crap. But to me, it's like, well, I've trained enough. I've been around enough competition, and even with like my first smoker, like you say, I wish the MDL was around earlier, because with my first smoker, it was like, okay, this is kind of in house, but at the end of the day, it was almost still just, if you wanted to rock them, sock them, you could.
mhm,
Like, I've seen guys
mhm,
get KO'd there. I've seen guys leave with stitches, everything, and it's like, whoa, is
mhm,
that gonna happen to me? And me and my guy Lawrence, we looked at each other just like, well, we're going to do to each other what we do in training, but it's going to be dialed up a little bit. It's like, okay, there's a gentleman's agreement here. Let's just get it. But luckily, we had that gentleman's agreement, because we've seen some things go wrong. Um, but taking that experience, and then, with that long layoff of me being in front of somebody with the noise around, once I did the first MDL, that made me think like, okay, I think it's time to cash in on that promise I made myself years ago. And then I decided to do another one. And coach
mhm,
actually recommended that. He said, well, if you're thinking about doing the MTAC, just do another MDL. So
yeah,
you don't feel any type of way like when you make this decision. And I said, okay. So I did it, and I said, nope, still want to do it. I'm going in. And
your
I
coach and I would get along great.
oh no, I think you and Ron would be awesome. Plus, like, one of the first things that you told me, especially when I was kicking the bag, and you were telling me, I think it was with my left leg that I tended to turn my hip over, but with my right, I didn't. Yep, no, he was hitting me with that. Not far after. He's like, hey, like, because he likes to do this thing where if you don't have your hands up, he'll have a pool noodle and he'll just walk around class whacking people with it. But he saw me and he's like, you got to turn your hip. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm turning it. He's like, switch the other leg. And I did it. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not. Didn't
Mhm.
Bill just tell me about this? So
It's almost like I know what I'm talking about.
I'm like,
Almost.
God dang it. But yeah, no, like, I feel confident because it's been consistent. I have coaches that are real with me. They would not recommend that I do this if they didn't have confidence in me that I was, one, competent, and just going to put in the effort to make it happen. So, and look, I believe in them like they believe in me, and yeah, that's just how I feel. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And my training buddy Ibrahim Suleiman, who's a heavyweight, one of the fastest heavyweights in Maryland, I'll tell you that. I got a problem with him. I'm smaller than him. I'm like, dude, why are you so fast? What is wrong with you? Something happened? Did you drink like a C4 before you got here? I don't know. But he's ready to go too. And man, it's gonna be a fun card. There are guys on that card that I've trained with before from other gyms, and one of them's actually fighting for a title. And I just think it'll be a good night. It's a good experience. I Once again, like I said before, like, I don't have the super thirst for competition. This is definitely something where I'm like, yeah, this is a time where I just put myself out there. This is a benchmark for me, and it's also me keeping that promise to myself that I was going to at least compete once.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and you get the opportunity to learn something about yourself.
mhm,
And, shout out to Ibrahim. I had his name written down
mhm,
here, Ibrahim Suleiman. So,
mhm.
is it? Is it one of his first fights as well?
No, he's been in for a while. He actually fought at the last MTAC last year.
Okay.
He fought a guy who was like 320 or three. Dude was
Good
like a
lord.
former defensive lineman, huge man. Um, I was like, how much do you weigh again,
My
Ibrahim?
goodness.
Because he's in like the, I'm not gonna say the light 200s, but like on a heavy day, he might be 240. So I was
Okay.
like, dude, this is almost 100 pound spread. Like, what's going on here? But no, he's fought there. He actually fought in the uh Grand Nationals in what's the state? I almost said Denver. It's not Denver, Delaware, earlier this year. And he did very well. I think he got bronze. I believe he got bronze. Either bronze or
Okay.
silver. Did he get silver? I forgot. But no, he's been fighting for a little while. I think the past couple of years is when he decided to jump in. So,
Okay.
he's
All
doing
right.
good. He's raring to go. And I'm like, okay, cool. Don't take it out on me though. Take it out on the other guy.
Yeah, I know how it goes training with those bigger guys. It's
Like, remember, I am small.
mhm. Yeah.
Oh
The
man.
especially if they got that puppy energy we were talking about.
Man, I'm like, yo, you young bucks and your nonsense. Y'all
Mhm.
just wake up ready to go. I'm like, dude, my knees.
Well, Tavon, I think we accomplished everything we set out to do here today. I wanted to highlight you, bring you in, let people know who you are as a person first and foremost, your ideologies on life, your philosophies. Like I've told you many times, I think you're a modern day philosopher. I admire the work that you do, in social media. I find it comedic. I find it honest, and I find it genuine. And that's what I've always appreciated about you. So I wanted to highlight all of that and build that up into your experience as a martial artist and your journey as a martial artist, because that's what I do on the internet. I talk about booze and martial arts. Um, so I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for, giving us insight into your personal life and to all of your ideologies. I appreciate everything that you do and everything that you say and everything that you put out there. I wish you continued success in your influencer career, in your martial arts career. I'm going to be rooting for you as long as you do it. And from there on, after whatever you decide to do, um, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let the people know where they can find you if they haven't already. And if there's anything else you want to get off your chest, my friend.
Um, dude, first of all, I gotta say thanks for having me on, and I'm doing my best not to have that one gangster tear come out, dude. That was you can't do that to me. Oh man, no, dude. I enjoy what you do online, point blank, period. From the day that we connected till now, like you have a friend in me, you have a fan in me. So just that's definitely that. You can find me online anywhere at Aeoxis, Aeoxis. I am the only guy that's going to show up. If you type Tovaun Anthony, I'm the only guy. If you've typed Tovaun McNeil, well, you're going to see me in a suit. I don't know how I successfully made Tovaun McNeil and Tovaun Anthony two different people. I have no idea how I did that. But hey, whatever. Works for Indeed.com. But yeah, no, you can find me anywhere. November 1st is my fight, as we mentioned, and actually October 29th I will be performing at an event called Agrofest. It is headlined by an artist called Create Lady J, who does aggro music, like trap, hip hop, and stuff like that. But she likes to bring in metal and stuff like and such like that. And I will be one of the openers for her. I'm and also helping organize the event. And yeah, it's going to be the Halloween edition, so that's going to be fun. I'll get to party a little bit before the fight, not too much, but it should be a good time. So
Yeah,
that's
let loose a little bit. You
yeah,
gotta, you gotta stay loose going into a
yeah.
competition.
Yeah, so that'll be October 29th at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, Maryland, if you are in the DMV. So,
I wish I was, man. I want to catch one of your live shows.
man,
I
we are
it's on
working
my
on
bucket
Florida
list to
right now.
do. It's on my list to do. If you ever make your way to Florida, wherever it is in the state, I'm gonna come see a show. Um, I spent some time in DC once upon a time,
Mm,
uh, practically another lifetime ago, but I am familiar with the area. If I make it up there at a time that you're doing a show, count on me. I'll be there front row. Um, Thank you so much for your time, for all of your insights, for sharing, you know, all of the personal details that you have and all of your insights. I appreciate all of it. And more importantly, your martial arts journey as it pertains to this show. And I will continue being a supporter and a fan of you. I wish you good luck in your fight. Uh, Let me know how I can tune into it
mm.
if I'm able to. If there's a link, I will share it.
If I get the link, I will throw it your way immediately.
Yes, sir. All
Mhm.
right. Well, you heard it. This has been the story and the martial arts journey of the front man of Aeoxis and Muay Thai practitioner Tovaun Anthony. That's all for this episode. Until next time, cheers, everybody. Goodbye.